What's up, KMAland? This is Derek Martin alongside with Ryan Matheny. Nice beard, Ryan.
Thank you.
We are getting ready for our first Football Friday night, and we're wondering why this guy's sitting next to me. We're making a little bit of a change in our personnel. Ryan's going to be joining me on the Red Oak Chrysler Football Connection show. Brian Clark is going to be out giving us some intermittent play-by-play. We'll tell you where he's going to be tonight, although we have all week long. But anyway, Brian will be out there throughout the year. We got Brent out there as well, Brent Barnett from KMA and Dean Adkins from KMA, along with our many other terrific reporters. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Again, Ryan with me on the Connection show. He'll also be co-host of the Scoreboard show, brought to you by Keys Chevy in Oakland, Keys Auto Center, your Ford and GM dealer in Harlan. Think you can learn that, Ryan?
I think so. It's been a challenge, but I'll get it down.
All right, we're going to go through the games each and every Friday with you here in a little video feature we have at KMA. Tonight, first of all, 22 reporters I have on this sheet right here. We're going to talk briefly about each of the games, a little challenge for Ryan here since he's a newbie. I'm going to start out. I'll say something about one team. You have to say something about the other. If you don't know anything, just make it up. Okay. Let's go to the game number one. Dean Adkins will be in town tonight, Riverside at Shenandoah. Of course, Shenandoah looking for their first trip to the playoffs in many, many years, and they've got a roster that could possibly do it. They got a senior quarterback, lots of great skill position players, and some good linemen coming back as well, facing off against the Riverside team that they beat last year.
Yeah, it was one of Shenandoah's 2 wins last year, and Riverside coming off a winless year last year, returning leading tackler and rusher Brock Bentley. So that's a Riverside team that could give Shenandoah some challenges through the night.
The Brian Clark game of the week is, he's going back to his old stomping grounds, Griswold at Bedford. I went to his old stomping grounds earlier this week. Bedford got new coaches, co-coaches Matt Ambrose and Jeremy Nally, although not a whole lot is going to change in terms of calling the plays because Matt is the defensive coordinator, just as he was last year. Jeremy is the offensive coordinator, just as he was last year. They've got a lot of guys back as well, some line guys to replace, but they're feeling pretty good about it from what they told me earlier this week. And on the Griswold side of things, another team likes to run the ball.
Yeah, that's right, and they've got a system that they've developed there with Coach Andy Everett. They run that wing T attack, and not a lot of numbers for Griswold this year, but again, it's a system philosophy there, so they're usually pretty solid.
Southwest Valley at Clarinda Academy. Casey Herzberg will be there for that. Of course, Clarinda Academy, they haven't won a game in a little while, but they are inspired, as from what I've heard from some people, by that volleyball team. Won their first varsity regular season match against a varsity team since 2010, and I've heard even the football players were talking about that victory in school the next day. They're taking on a Southwest Valley team under Bob Casagrande, who's in his second year.
Yeah, and that's a Southwest Valley team, freshman quarterback last season, and so not very often you have a freshman quarterback that comes back with some experience. So this is a Southwest Valley team that can really make a step forward this year.
Talking about Chance Cobb. Let's go on to our 8-man run. We got a lot of 8-man games tonight, as we always do. Jason Hyde going to be joining us for the first time. You've heard him many times on KMA. He's works at the Viking Lake State Park, and he's works for the DNR. We've heard him on Dean and Dawn actually this week. He's going to be in Essex tonight for Lamoni at Essex. That's a game that Essex actually played Lamoni pretty well last year. Gunnar Glasgow back in at quarterback. They like to throw the ball around. Their defense, though, last year, the worst in terms of giving up points in Class 8, man. So they're going to have to get some stops against the Lamoni team that's down a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. We get to see Lamoni post Colton Rainey. This is a team that last year ran the ball a lot. You and I both saw them play Fremont Mills in the playoffs. It's a Lamoni team that they're going to take a step back this year, see if Essex can get them week 1.
I said they're down this year. I mean, down in terms of players from last year. Austin Toll, by the way, set the state record for single-season interceptions, 14 of them last year. That's one thing to watch with Essex throwing the ball around quite a bit today. West Harrison is at Sydney as well. We've got Kent Larson, of course, as we always do in Sydney. Sydney, I'm really interested in seeing how they just try to reload again, because each year you think, oh, they're going to maybe drop off a little bit. With the senior class they lost a huge senior class, 9 people. That's a lot for an 8-man crew, and not a whole lot of production coming back. It'll be interesting to see if Coach Donnie Sears' team can continue to reload. I gave you a tough one, West Harrison.
Yeah, West Harrison, 2 years ago, that West Harrison team was real good, had a real good shot at making the playoffs, and now since then, that West Harrison team's kind of taken a little bit of a slide, see if they can get back into their winning ways. I know they have a real inventive pistol offense there that usually spreads teams out.
That was good, Ryan. I hope that you weren't just making that up. Woodbine at Fremont Mills tonight. Brent Barnett will be there in Tabor. This is his first time he's been part of the Red Oak Chrysler Football Connection show, and we're glad to have him. He was the sideline reporter for Northwest Missouri State football last year, so he'd be right at home. That's about the same thing. Woodbine at Fremont Mills, and I'm just kidding around. But Woodbine, I'll take Woodbine because I gave you the tough one last time. Kevin Lee, quarterback, he's going to have to run around and away throughout the year because they are very low on numbers, very low on big guys. He's the leader. He's a great trackster. He's a speedster. They're going to put the ball in his hands, see what happens. Fremont Mills, by the way, they got a lot of guys that can do that.
A lot of skill players for Fremont Mills. That's the big story. They've got a lot of skill guys back. Guys like Parker Powers. You got guys like Sam Phillips that can come in and really do some damage. The big question for Fremont Mills, can their offensive line step up and hold things for them?
And Jason Rustin, what can you say about him, what he's done over the last couple of years as well? He's been so efficient. Boyer Valley at East Mills tonight. Jan Harris is in Malvern. Generally, Jan Harris would do our AHSTW game, but he was... Well, they played on Thursday night, the Channel Seed Ag Bowl, and took on Audubon. So Jan will be in Malvern for Boyer Valley at East Mills. Boyer Valley lost some of the guys that made their spread offense go last year, and I picked them outside of the playoffs, and from what I have heard, the folks in Dunlap, Dow City, they are unhappy with me, so here's their opportunity to prove me wrong. They're on the road in Malvern against I guess a new era, so to speak. New head coaches there with Andy Irwin now in Shenandoah.
Yeah, that's right. New head coaches, co-head coaches at East Mills, and Kevin Schaefer, Claude Lang. This is an East Mills team that you never really know what they're going to do year to year. You know, they had the one year where they just threw the ball everywhere. They move up to 11-man, run the ball everywhere. So it's an East Mills team that I think once they find their identity, they're going to be in the groove.
Watch the Hopkins kid, right? Yeah, he's a little jitterbug, but he's going to get the ball quite a bit this year, I would think. Going on to another 8-man game, Nishnabotna at Exira Elkhorn Kimballton. Tom Moore is out and about. I guess they call it kind of after ADP, after Drew Peppers, although last year he was hurt most of the year, so Brady Hansen was able to get a lot of time at the quarterback position, and so maybe he just kind of, I mean, he's already a great athlete anyway, so it won't be anything new to him. It'll be interesting to see how the Spartans are this season. You know they're always going to be well coached with Tom Peterson, and Nishnabotna, their opponent tonight.
Yeah, Nishnabotna, they did have one loss in the offseason with Carter Jennings moving away from the district, but you know, it's a Nishnabotna team that is poised for more wins than what they had last year. It's a team that's returning enough. They might have enough firepower to turn it around this season.
Guthrie Center at Stanton is another 8-man game we've got tonight. Greg Abbott will be in Stanton for that one. Again, I'll take the tough one. Guthrie Center, not a lot of people know too much about them in this area. Austin Labs, everybody knew about last year. He's gone. They're down a lot of their production this year. Not a lot of guys back that played last year. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform against a Stanton team that pretty much has everybody back.
Yeah, this is a Stanton team. When you talk about a team making a jump from one year to the next, this is a Stanton team that's poised to do it. Shady Brady Johnson, the big receiver out there, he could lead the state in receiving yards this season.
He had like 80-some catches, 1,000 yards plus last year, receiving from David Sorensen. You got Alex Bechtold in the backfield. I mean, and their line is back too, which is always a big thing. East Union at Lennox. Actually, this is Lennox at East Union at Afton tonight. That was a change. Mike Still, another new reporter, will be with us for that one. In Afton this evening, Lennox, they've got a guy that's been getting Division I looks. When you're 6'7", 6'8", like Spencer Brown is, you're going to get some looks, and he has really produced as well, catching the football defensively. He's in the backfield all the time. If East Union drops back to pass, Spencer Brown's going to be in the quarterback's face. Good luck on East Union.
Well, East Union last year, a team that maybe a head scratcher. You look at their game against Lennox last year. You know, they take Lennox down to the wire like that. So it may be a situation where East Union just has something with Lennox figured out. We'll see if that pays off for them.
Nicely done. Northwest Nottoway at Rockport, another 8-man game in Missouri. Rockport kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit last week against Worth County. They're going to try to bounce back, while Northwest Nottoway scored a lot of points against Stanberry, but Stanberry scored a lot more. So this is two 0-1 teams for Northwest Nottoway. They don't have the great connection that they had last year. Kobe Reynolds is back at quarterback, and that's kind of the leading guy there.
Yeah, that's right, and he's going to have to find somebody else to throw the ball to. No Trevor Meyer there for that spread attack that likes to throw the ball everywhere. But they're coming off of a Week 1 loss. Northwest Nottoway is to Stanberry, so see if they can rebound and get that high-speed attack engaged.
Yeah, that's we're doing this live with pretty much only stuff in the back of our head. Couldn't think of Trevor Meyer's name. You got it for me. Appreciate that. Another Missouri game tonight. Oh, by the way, Eric Chamberlain will be in Rockport for that one. Another game in Missouri tonight in Kansas City. Tom Alvarez, our Maryville ace in the hole. The Spoof Hounds are at St. Pius X. I'm going to take St. Pius X. The only thing I know about them, they're in Kansas City.
Okay, that's a good one. Maryville, of course, we know they're traditional power in football. They've got something rolling there. They don't lose football games in Maryville very often, so another solid squad for the Spoof Hounds.
They're 1-0, by the way. They pounded loss. I think shut them out last week as well, 39-0. So Nebraska tonight, we've also got an 8-man contest. Diller Odell is at Lord Central Catholic in Nebraska City. Kurt Mannion, our Nebraska ace in the hole guy, going to be there for that one. Lord Central Catholic, Diller Odell, two teams that have had success in the recent past and put a lot of points on the board. Anything to add there?
Lord Central Catholic's in Nebraska City.
Good job. We're going to learn a lot more about those two teams from Kurt here later on tonight. Kent Ponslow, a new reporter as well. He's going to handle some WIC stuff for us, Council Bluffs area, and he'll be in Missouri Valley tonight. Defending state champions out of Class A, Logan Magnolia, taking on the Big Reds in Missouri Valley. Loma lost a lot of guys, but it's all about the plug and place with Coach Matt Strait. And also, he's got Austin Hayner, Riley Wohlers, whoever he wants to play quarterback with. That'll probably have some great speed and is just an elusive, terrific game manager. So Logan Magnolia is going to be all right. I think there's still one of the top 5 teams in the state.
Yeah, taking a look at Missouri Valley, a name that comes up would be a guy like C.J. Kyle on the defensive side of things, kind of tearing things up. It's a Missouri Valley team that really trying to rebound, trying to find some wins in that district. It's going to be tough.
Tri-Center at Underwood tonight as well. Steve Irvin has the reports from Underwood for that one. The Eagles, I really have a lot of high hopes for this team, and I think so does Nate Mikhailson, their head coach. Nick Peterson back at quarterback, and Tyler Kahn out on the outside. They were it was one of the best quarterback receiver connections last year. With those two back, Isaiah Humphrey in the backfield as well, I think that offense is going to look pretty good. And again, they play and host Tri-Center tonight.
Yeah, Tri-Center is a team, we've talked about this a couple times, that plug-and-play type system John Tarks has there. That's a Tri-Center team that they always pride themselves on offensive line play, and I think that's key for them.
Moving on to St. Albert at Thomas Jefferson. I never thought I would see the day where St. Albert would, in a 4-playoff format in districts, they'd missed the playoffs. They missed the playoffs last year. Hard to believe. They were very young last year. Played a lot of freshmen. They're going to play a lot of sophomores this year as well. They've also got Glenn Bertelson in the backfield, who's a senior and just a rolling bowling ball of whatever you want to say. He's a quick and powerful guy, and he will try to run down and over the TJ defense tonight. Good game last year. And by the way, the new field turf for the Council Bluffs Stadium unveils tonight.
Yeah, jealous of Joe Narmy. He gets to go check out the new CB Stadium there. And this Thomas Jefferson team that they played St. Albert close like last year, like you said, a 20-13 game. They do return their leading tackler. They return an 18-man senior class that's looking to do big things. And, you playing in Class 4A football, they play a tough schedule week in and week out. They get a chance to play St. Albert, crosstown rival, and a chance to make a statement in Council Bluffs.
We've got a Matheny reporting from Leon. What's that? Oh, no, that's your brother, Jordan Matheny, will be in Leon for Nottoway Valley at Central Decatur. Central Decatur, Peyton Peterson, terrific all-around athlete, actually probably one of the best all-around athletes in Pride of Iowa Conference. He is a terrific football player as well. He and his team will be hosting Nottoway Valley tonight, which brings back some good skill players themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Nottoway Valley, if you look at their football teams in the past, it's always been the few but the mighty. They never have as many numbers as a lot of other 11-man schools, and they always seem to put a good product on the field.
Well, they got like half their school off across country, so the other half has to play football, and they play it pretty well. Albia at Mount Air tonight. How about this for a heavyweight battle? Brett Ruggles is in Mount Air. He's our Mount Air guy. Albia, they are the #1 rated team in 2A according to the Des Moines Register, loaded with a lot back and Carter Isley? Carter Isley, terrific wrestler and a tough running back. Mount Air got pounded by him last year and ended up still going to the Dome, so you know how good they were last year.
Yeah, this is a great Mount Air football team. They always have a lot of speed. We know that they have a great track program over there in Mount Air, and then they would always put it together with some sort of offensive line, guys like Joe Ricker who could kind of clear the way in the past. But this is a Mount Air team that, again, it's a revenge factor playing Albia. Albia is a very good football team, and Mount Air is going to have their work cut out for them.
Now we get to our 7:30 kickoffs, 4 of them tonight. Clarinda is at Atlantic. This is a battle of Hawkeye 10 conference teams. One team had a great year last year. Clarinda. Atlantic had a down year, and Atlantic lost pretty much their entire roster. I'm taking both these teams for some reason. But Clarinda, I just love the Mark Schilb and the Roger Williams and that whole coaching staff effect. I think they're a plug-and-play type team now with the spinner back, and I think they're just going to continue to win and win and win and win. And tonight at Atlantic, they'll try to do that for a second time in 2 years against the Trojans.
Yeah, and Atlantic, we see them play every year. They play in a very tough district in Class 3, a lot of close games within that district every year, and so Atlantic's come out on the losing end of some of those closer games at times. But again, they're always a team that's going to throw out some athletes on the field. And playing Clarinda, alignment and assignment's the big key. You mentioned that spinner back. See what their defense can do against that.
Now, if there's a team that I shot low on, I feel like in my district football previews, it might be Glenwood, because they have got a lot of just speed coming back. Colton Wilwarding is back at quarterback, his third year in the system, second year starting. Then they've got just a ton of backs: Maverick Decker, Blaine Lee, Josh Clark. They've Aaron Bertini out on the outside. They've got a lot of skilled guys, and from what Coach Foss says, Coach Corey Foss, he's really happy with how that offensive line looks. Again, they'll be at Red Oak tonight. They're not going to play this one in Plattsmouth this year. Brian Bertini with the updates.
Yeah, and this is a Red Oak team. They return some good skill guys. Brock Isaacson coming back. He was kind of a workhorse for him in the past. Carlos Guerra, the quarterback, also back. So we'll see what he can do there. So this is a Red Oak team. They got a nice core coming back, and we'll see what Coach Barry Bauer and the Tigers have.
Silently, maybe the game of the night in a lot of areas. Sergeant Bluff Luton is at Lewis Central tonight, and Matt Hayes will be there for that. Sergeant Bluff Luton, Matt George, 2,000-yard rusher last year. I don't know in terms of what he has back on the offensive line, but a few changes on the quarterback and wide receiver positions. Sometimes it just doesn't matter with guys like that, though. You run for 2,000 yards, you are a superstar. And Lewis Central, with what they have come back, their defense, a lot of guys back are going to try to stop him tonight.
Yeah, and they're going to have to do it without Austin Simmons. First time that he's not been in the Lewis Central lineup for a long time, moving on, going to play some football in college. But you look at a guy like Caleb Shudak coming back, a very good athlete in many different sports, see if he maybe moves into a quarterback role for the Titans, something like that. And then, like you said, lots of guys coming back on their defense. It's a good team.
That includes Mitchell Brinkman, big guy. Sergeant Bluff Luton's going to have to block him if they're going to get George some openings. Creston is at Norwalk tonight. Doug Howard is there for that one. Again, that's a 7:30 kick as well. Creston, they got the mojo. The German foreign exchange student at quarterback. See, Dick Bergstrom coaches a pro team in Germany, former Creston coach, and I think the junior team, this Mojo, I'm not going to try to say his name, he was in that kind of organization. I think Bergstrom, Mojo knew he wanted to come to the U.S. to play, and Dick Bergstrom kind of said, hey, I know a place, and Creston's going to be happy to have him. They also have some great linemen coming back. Chase Schultz in the backfield. What can you say about him? He was just a terrific player. And they're at Norwalk tonight. Creston's a state-rated team by some polls. So is Norwalk.
And Norwalk coming off a 6-5 season last year. They made the playoffs, and it starts with their man behind center, Brady Bransfield. He was a sophomore last year, junior this year, threw for over 2,100 yards last year, also rushed for almost 600 yards. He is a stud behind center, and he's going to lead Norwalk this year.
Man, you asked this guy about Norwalk, and he's got everything. So, again, full rundown can be found online at KMAland.com, and actually on this page that we've posted this video on, and we'll be running through these guys all throughout. In the preview show, Brian and I are going to talk about the game of the week for each of us and why that is. So we're going to do that here as well. Ryan, I'll let you take it away.
My game of the week this week is St. Albert Thomas Jefferson inter-city rivalry, and that's where it comes down. The new Council Bluffs Stadium, you're playing on the turf, and you've got a Thomas Jefferson team that's trying to turn the corner. They've got a big senior class coming off a 1-8 season where they played St. Albert real close. Other side, you got a St. Albert team trying to rebound from last year. Like you said, not often we don't see a St. Albert team in the playoffs. They've got a lot of great guys coming back, and they're led by a Waters behind center, so that's always big.
Yes, that is a brother. Luke Waters, Jake Waters and Matt Waters' brother. Jake, of course, with the Seattle Seahawks, and Matt played college football himself, Division I at Ohio. My game, why would I go anywhere else than what I've been kind of focusing on? Well, one of the big games I'm focusing on throughout the year and throughout the week, and a visit I made to Bedford, Griswold Bedford. I just loved this matchup last year because both teams love to run the football, and they do it with multiple different backs. You never really know where it's coming from. It'll be interesting to see what Griswold does. They have a lot to replace both up front and in the backfield. Bedford's very happy with what they've got coming back up front, although not a ton of experience, but they're very happy with Hunter Russell at quarterback. Also got Justin Folkerts in the backfield, Sam McMillan, lots of different guys they can turn to there. So I'm interested in that. Again, Brian will have some intermittent play-by-play during the Red Oak Chrysler Football Connection show. Anything else you want to add, Ryan?
Oh, excited! The football season's here. Now we're in full swing, and we'll be doing this every week.
Join Brian and I at Brian at 6:20 later tonight with the Iowa Western Community College Clarinda campus and Page Fremont County Center High School football preview show. We'll follow that with the Red Oak Chrysler Football Connection show. Me and this guy will be there, and then again, Ryan and I with the high school football scoreboard show brought to you by Keys Chevy in Oakland, Keys Auto Center, your Ford and GM dealer in Harlan, with you from 6:20 until midnight tonight and the next 8 Fridays. Believe it or not, football is here.